Good morning, everybody. It's such an honor to be here. To Representative Fuchs, to Lori. Good to see everyone in the back. I love from the area. There's very few ways that I think I can properly prepare for Yom HaKadosh, Yom Kippur, as getting with the schus to be able to speak to the Nashim Tzidkanios of our community. And so I truly appreciate the opportunity, and I just want to give a bracha before I start that this should be a year where Hashem should bench us and bless our community. You know, it's been a little hard for us recently as a community and as a people. We should be zocheh this year to have a year that both has ruchnis and gashmis, bracha and success and health and happiness. May this be the year that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Yemei, we're ready to go. You guys have been there enough. Now it's time to have the main group in Yerushalayim. May it be so. Here with me. Thank you very much. You're great. See you later. I'll never forget one of my best classes that I took when I was in law school. I had a professor in Columbia named Nat Lewin. Maybe some of you may have heard of those who... Oh, this is great. I wasn't expecting that. Nat Lewin is, in my opinion, a tremendous tzaddik. He is defending Klal Yisrael in so many ways, and he was one of my best professors I've ever had. And when I was in school, he had a class called Religious Minorities in Supreme Court Litigation. What you did was you followed a religious case, and you were able to go. He's argued in front of the Supreme Court. He has a lot of connections there. And the highlight of the trip is that he takes you as a class to Washington, and he gets you seats into the Supreme Court, and you get to watch the Supreme Court go. Watching the Supreme Court for a lawyer or law student is like, forget about it. You know, it's like out of this world. And Scalia and Thomas and that point Rehnquist and how they talk in the bat. It's like watching a ping pong match of minds. But you can't possibly get there in Chap. It's impossible to watch the Supreme Court go. So what you do is you spend the entire semester reviewing and reading the lower court judgments. Because in order to get what's going on in the upper court, you have to know the lower court so well that when they say this, you see it connects back to 4 levels, the appellate court, the district court, all the way up. So when they're fighting over a point, you're not like, oh, that's interesting. You're really holding. It's one unit. What he taught us was that when you look at judgment in the American world, it's not separate. It's a unit. And if you're focusing on the end without understanding the beginning, you're missing the end. You're going to walk into the end, sit there and be like, that's interesting, and you're not going to understand because you didn't spend enough time in the district court. You didn't spend enough time reading what happened yesterday, a year ago, 3 years ago. So when you stand before the Supreme Court, you don't fully get it. One of the mistakes we make sometimes in Aseres Teshuva is that we've already done with Rosh Hashanah. And now we're focused on Yom Kippur. That's it. That's all we got, Yom Kippur. And we sort of know that there's some judgment taking place, and there's a chasima to the ksiva, and something's going on. And what we do is we focus on the Supreme Court. We're all eyes on that day. And for most of us, we had just gone through the district court a minute ago, which is going to give us everything that we need to get to the Supreme Court. Half of the reason why the Supreme Court is happening is because of the district court. But we forgot about the district court. It's over. We went there, we did it, we survived, the day was long, it was fine, the chazan didn't sleep too much, everything was okay. We did it, we made it, thank God we're okay, we're alive, okay, we're doing good, we're almost done. It's almost Sukkot, it's almost Matzah Yom Kippur, best night of the year, because the furthest point of the holiday, the next Yom Kippur. We're almost there. And we miss so much. We miss the details. What's happening in this amazing system, and this is the best, the brilliance of what we're going through right now. The rachamim that Hashem gives us is that He takes something that should happen in an instant. God doesn't need a court. He doesn't need a jury. He doesn't need lawyers. He's God. He knows exactly what's right at the exact moment that it happens. He doesn't need a system of judgment. We are not here in any which way because we're trying to plead to the Creator. He's cool. He knows everything. He doesn't need our prayers. He doesn't need anything from us. The reason why we're doing this is in no way because we're trying to like beseech him to change his mind. And maybe you can realize that, by the way, I'm a good person. And maybe you can realize I'm going to say it louder. It's like a color war. Maybe I can scream louder. Can I hear your blue team louder? Can you get louder? Louder, louder. And God's like, okay, fine. I mean, it wasn't going to give you money, but now that you give it back, oh, okay, you guys get extra dollar bills. No. Not like that. We don't move God at all. This whole process is God's way of saying, you have to move you. I'm me. It's you that has to change. So what he does in his brilliance is he takes what should take a second, judgment, and he stretches it in this major day called Yom Hadin. And then that day has or, has light, has hashpah on a week. Which is why, if you want to learn anything in Yiddishkeit, the greatest clues that we have, because remember, we always speak about this, how the world that we live in is like a fake world. The real world is the spiritual right behind us. We just don't know how to access it. I know it's there. I daven, but I don't know how to get to it. So what Chazal does for us is they say, here's what you got to do. Look at what you daven. If we add stuff, if we take away stuff, if you're doing stuff, if you go to shul and they're saying stuff, all the things that are happening is not just because. What we're doing is we've seen that world. We used to be in that world. We know how to get to that world. So we're already doing this. We're saying, we're cluing you in. Left turn here, right turn here. It's like, map codes. You here, you here. It's a whole game. And so if we're doing something and davening every day something, it's Chazal's way of saying, this is what's going on behind the curtain. Right now, we're davening this morning. And we said, Kosveinu, in the active form. Like, be writing. Not, I hope I got a good judgment. Not like, I hope it worked out well in Rosh Hashanah. We're saying, actually, God, can you please write us B'Sefer HaChaim? Why? Because Rosh Hashanah is not done. It is not done at all. It started, it continues all week, and then at the end of this week, this Shabbos, it ends with a seal. And so what we're doing right now is we're living in the judgment. And the question is, how does the judgment go down? What is going on up there? How does the court work? And how do I make sure that as I walk in correctly, I am being able to effect the best judgment possible? So what I'd like to do for the beginning this morning is start with Rosh Hashanah. And the reason is because by understanding and getting into the guts of Rosh Hashanah, some of us have known this already, some of us doesn't. We're still in Rosh Hashanah. It just happens to be Wednesday of Rosh Hashanah. By understanding the guts of Rosh Hashanah, we'll be able to then understand why Rosh Hashanah comes first, and then what's left. The Kesiva is the game. What we have to do to make sure that we walk into Yom Kippur, the Kesiva is done, so that when we get to the Yom Kippur, once the Kesiva is done with, we can now focus on Chesima. Because it's not God that's sealing, it's us that's sealing. So let's talk about Rosh Hashanah. So I'll never forget, one of the greatest places you ever find questions about Yiddishkeit is at work. Because at work, if you're the Orthodox Jew, you're like the rabbi, you're like the priest, you know what I'm saying? You're the psychologist, it's great, I love it. So anytime anyone's ever questioned, you're the guy to ask. And most of the time when you grow up, especially in a day school, yeshiva world, half the stuff we do, we have no idea what we're doing. We're just doing it because we're doing it because we're doing it because if we don't do it, something bad's going to happen, so just keep on doing it. So I'll never forget, my first law firm that I worked for was a place called Davis Polk and Wardwell. And in those worlds, in the law firm worlds, those that are in the worlds, spouses that are in the worlds, the way what they teach you right away is that it's not really law. The first thing you learn is that you would think in life that there's two types of individuals, man and God. It's not true. In the law firm, there's someone in between man and God. It's called a partner. Now that partner sits between God and man. It's like something from like Zeus. That's how it works. And when they first bring you in, you got to learn covenant partner. There's different rules of partner treatment. Like when they speak, you don't speak back. You write. This happened to me once. He's like, "Hi, how are you? We're going to do this." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Responding." I don't know. My mom told me that. He's like, "When I speak, you write." I'm like, "Oh, I forgot. You're a partner, covenant partner." That's how it works. When a partner means you in the office and you're a first-year associate, it's how fast can I get there? I am so sorry, whatever I did, I am yours forever. So I'll never forget. I just started. I started in September. It was my second week, and I get a call from some young partner that was a conservative guy, and his secretary calls my secretary and says, I need Harary in my office now. And I'm like, oh, how did I get kicked out of the law firm already? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is a record for me. I never really, and like the first thought was like my mom to write a note. I'm like, that doesn't work. You remember the moment where your mom's note doesn't work? It's a very hard moment in life, you know what I'm saying? When you get busted by the cop, you're like, my mom gives signatures, the guy's like, I don't really care. You're like, what do you mean? Like my mom's signature should take care of every problem in the world. Once that stops, your whole world just starts to change. I'm like, I can't get my mom, I can't call her, they're gonna call my mom, they get kicked out. I went up to the guy's office, I waited in his anteroom until he finally gets to his room. And at that point, I had done these videos and he heard stuff and I was speaking in different places and someone connected him and said to me, I need to speak to you about something. I said, what? He goes, we met before, I see that you're an Orthodox Jew. I said, I have to be. He goes, you're into God? I'm like, yeah, I like God a lot, it's amazing. I'm all for God. Yes, I'm on the God team. Yes, is that okay? So he says to me, I have a problem. I said, what's your problem? He said, my sister returned to the faith. She became one of you people. We were normal, and then she went to some program in Israel, and like she came back, and now they're like whacked. I'm like, exactly what I love to hear. This is starting really great, by the way. And she said, it was around Labor Day time. He said, I was by my brother-in-law and my sister for lunch, for a barbecue. And my brother-in-law was also one of the people. Got up in the middle of the barbecue, and it's like, I have to go. I said, where are you going? He goes, I'm going to pray. It's not the high holidays, where are you going? He goes, we do this every day. It's like, are you serious? So he says, I'll go with you. I'm not going to sit alone with the ladies here. So I went with my brother-in-law to this place, this temple, and they prayed, but it wasn't like a real prayer. It was like 15 seconds and they were done. They were up and down every second. Like, sounds perfectly right. Did you not in my shul? So I'm ready to leave, and my brother goes, oh no, there's another one. I'm like, what? Like, there's 2 a day? He's like, there's 3 a day. He's like, you people. So he said, we had to wait. So in between the prayers is like a sermon. It's like a mini high holidays every Sunday for you people. The rabbi gets up and gives a sermon in between both prayers. So I'm like, yeah, this happens every day. So he says, in the sermon, the rabbi said the following. He said, it's time for Rosh Hashanah. This is the high holidays. Now, I grew up, and what that meant was you show up to shul, and you say hi holidays, and you say hi to God, and like he says hi to you back, and you do your thing, and you leave. That's not what the rabbi said. The rabbi said that on this day, everything gets decided. How much money you make, who becomes healthy, who doesn't become healthy, who lives, who dies. He's like, the whole year is decided on this next few days. Get ready. He finished. I was like, oh, no one else seemed to care for some reason. Everyone was like, oh, whatever. They got back up and went through their day. I was like, my mouth dry. I had never heard this. I went back. I love these Jews, by the way. I love them more than life itself. I went back and I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm not a good Jew. I don't know much about Judaism. I didn't go to Jewish day school. Like, I was there before. I have a whole year. How am I going to protect myself? How am I going to defend myself? So I called a buddy of mine who's Roman Catholic. I'm like, this is going really well. And he's like, oh, he's a religious guy. We're good friends. He goes, it's easy with religion. Just confess. Just say sorry. God doesn't care. You walk in, they say a prayer, you're good to go. I said, confess. I said, I'm a litigator. I'm not just a litigator. I'm one of the best litigators in the country. I'm like, and you're humble, of course, that's true. He said, I'm not going to just confess. I'm going to write a reason for God why I should have an amazing year. When I get to Rosh Hashanah, I'm going to stand before God, and I'm going to say, by the way, you see they're all confessing in your book? Allow me, Your Honor, and just nail it. So my friend said to me, go get their book, find where the confession is, and in that confession, stick in your piece, so that when the time comes they're all confessing, you're on. He goes, got it. I Googled it, I found there's a place on 45th in Eichler's. I said my secretary, she picked up a Rosh Hashanah book for me, and I sat down last night to find the place where everyone confesses so I can step up and blow God away. I said, this sounds amazing. What's the problem? He said, there's no confession. Because I went through the book like 7 times. There's no place. I don't know where you do this. Where do you tell God sorry? And I'm like, you know what happens when like, you don't know an answer to something? What do? You never say you don't know an answer. That's a very good question. And there's a very big answer to this. It's very deep and complex. It's Kabbalistic. I'm going to get back to you in a couple of days. So the lawyer that he is, he goes, by tomorrow morning. I'm like, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Thank you for the time, sir. Isn't that a bomb kasha? Isn't that a bomb kasha? We stand before God every year. This is what we're doing right now. We say Kusvenu. We just went through this a minute ago. This is what we're going through. We are mid-judgment. We show up on the day of judgment, on Yom HaDin, and we stand before God. And He is deciding our life. We don't even say sorry. Not one time. How is He going to judge us? On what? Whoever screams the loudest? How do you get judged then? If you can't even say, by the way, 2 weeks ago, 6 months ago, when I did this, my bad. When I did this, I'm sorry. The whole purpose of Judgment Day is to stand before the judge as the plaintiff, as the defendant, and say, Your Honor, when he killed that person, he was insane. When he stole this, he was hungry. When she went to the red light, he didn't. The goal of the judgment is us being able to spend a moment realizing that judgment requires me to defend why I should get a good or bad judgment. We do none of that. You know what we do all day? We eat. We spend more time, like, past the deli roll. Did you make chocolate? Oh, this is delicious. I love this mousse. This is wonderful. Than actually doing anything else. We come to shul. We say, you're amazing. We blow a shofar. And that's it. If you were a lawyer, you'd have heart palpitations about how your client is acting on the day that his life is being decided. He's sitting out. He's got a big meal. Oh, my God, I love it. Can I get double desserts and triples? I can't believe this is amazing. And you know what God says? Don't got to speak about sins. You know what you can get instead? This is all we have. You ready? This is how we walk into the judgment day. This is it. We've got one little object called the shofar. That's it. Show up, blow the shofar, and something magical happens. God says, when you blow that shofar, I, God, move from the kisei, the seat of judgment, to the kisei of mercy. And as soon as you get me to move to the seat of mercy, you're golden. So we show up in shul. We say, I love you a couple of times. Chazan gets up, blows a lot of sounds, and we go home and we eat. And the only place in Tanakh, in Nehemiah, that speaks about Rosh Hashanah is when we cry, Nehemiah says, Enjoy yourselves, Tatel, don't work so hard, don't be upset, I take care of it. Typical Jewish mother fashion. Eat, I'll handle everything else. How is this possible? How is this our judgment? How in the world can I ensure that I'm going to get a good year if I can't even defend myself, if I have nothing except for just a horn? And how does this work? So the Gemara says, now it works. Because when you blow the horn, the Satan, who is the head of the judgment court, gets confused. And says in Kabbalah that we basically knock him out for a day. And once the Satan is knocked out, God can do whatever He wants. I don't know about you, but I'm wondering to myself, who is this Satan guy? You know what I'm talking about? Like, I thought this guy's supposed to be powerful, right? Don't you say, like, by the way, God, I'm sorry that, like, I sinned, the Satan's going to take me down. Like, really? He's still falling for the shofar trick? Like, it's been, like, what, 2,000 years? You can't Google it by now. You're like, oh, by the way. You can't anticipate the attack at this point. Like, we're like, the Satan is the guy that we're scared of. He knows, it's on the calendar. The kids are off from school for, like, 8 days beforehand. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knows it's coming. He can't be like, I'm bringing earplugs. We really buy it, like something magical, like we blow the shofar and the sun's like, oh, where am I? And now he's gone and the rest of them can go. What is going on here? How does this work? So let's get into what's really going on. The goal of this period of time that starts with Rosh Hashanah is one thing. There's only one thing we're doing. Everything that we do is a subset of one thing. There is one word. Well, there's a couple words, but there's one major word that if we get this word wrong on Rosh Hashanah, we miss judgment. And we still have now to make up for it. But this period of time, if we don't own this word, we're missing it. The word is Hamelech. Period. You get Hamelech, you're in. If we don't get Hamelech, we're out. The whole game, everything we're doing, the apples and the honey, the shofar, the extra simanim, the going to shul, the tashlach, everything that we're doing is all subset of one thing. I believe in you. So let's talk about belief in God. Because the belief in God is very interesting. Because God has two separate ways in which He relates to the world. And those ways are extremely different. What's amazing is that we know God in two ways. One, He created the world, and two, He runs the world. And think that when we have our Torah and our tefillas, you know how much props we give him, how it would weigh? We'd be telling the world how he created the world, right? When you look at the way God created the world, the essence of the belief system that we have is that you look around and it's intelligent design. Even the agnostics and atheists that are out there, the scientists that are all agnostic, even when you sit with the Albert Einsteins of the world and talk to them about the universe, they will all say, God, because Einstein's line, God doesn't play dice with the universe. Everyone will say it is nearly impossible. Some of the greatest proofs we have for God's existence is that when God created the world, he created the world in a way that was so unique that it is impossible to think that it wasn't built by an intelligent designer. If one person pops into the world, that's cool. If 1,000 pop into the world, that's cool. But if someone pops into the world in a way that fits certain rules and order, it's not just cool. It has to have come from somebody. It's impossible that every person born in Bangladesh has the heart in the same place as every person born in Woodmere. How could that be? It has to be that somebody designed the heart. It is impossible that the entire body works the exact same way. It's always going to be a baby coming out of a mother. It's always going to be the same stuff. Your body works a certain way. The solar system works a certain way. The animal kingdom works a certain way. It is impossible that you can decide what's going to happen to a plant in New York and a plant in Israel. Unless there is somebody sitting back and going, I am creating a rule that's going to apply. If it happens once, it's random. If it happens 1,000 times, it can be random. If it happens 1,000,000 times, it can be random. But if you can predict it, if you can study it, if you can pull out a principle and say, this is how the world works, then someone must have put that in. That's not random. Somebody must have said, this is going to be the rule. From now on, this is how gravity works. I don't care if you're right or wrong. I don't care if you like it or don't. I don't care if you're a good person or a bad person. You jump in, you're going to fall. Period. It's a rule. In Judaism, the concept of rule, of order, is called din. Din is rules. There's a rule. Either you follow the rule or you don't. It's a din. It's a rule. There's judgment. At every moment of our lives, God is judging the grass and saying, here's the rule. I don't care if you're happy or not grass. I don't care if you're happy or not horses. I don't care if you're happy or not solar systems. Here's how it works. I gave you a chok. You every morning rise. You're tired, son? I'm so sorry. You'll have the weekend off later on. You're going to rise today no matter what. It's a rule. I judge you. I look to you, we look to it, we are enamored by it because, and only because, it follows an order. We look at creation and we see the din. And what makes us blown away by Hashem is we go, wow. In Aramaic, it's called is din, the is dayan. There is a din, so there must be a dayan. There's a rule, there's a rule maker. And if you look around to the world today, you almost, if you sit down, I speak to an atheist once a week, Baruch Hashem. I mean, like, forget about it. This is like the newest thing. Even this stuff, they're like, well, this almost trips nobody up. And we love it, because you know what happens when there's rules? We can control it. You know what happens when God creates rules? We know when the sun's going to rise. We know when it's going to rain. We know if someone gets sick. There are ways we know the body works. Because there are rules, we feel like we're a little bit in control. And if you look around at Judaism, what you should find is that every place in life where there's God's mention, what we should do is talk about how he created the world. No? Does it get bigger than this? Everything we should say should be Zecher L'Maaseh Bereshis. Everything. Everything should be Zecher L'Maaseh Bereshis. I mean, he created the world. When God brings himself to the world and introduces himself, how does he introduce himself? He says, Anochi Hashem Elokecha Asher Hotzeitzichem Eretz Mitzrayim. You kidding me, God? Really? That's what you're doing? You took us out of Egypt? Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't you create Egypt? And the Egyptians? And the Jews? Like, really? Like, you're limiting yourself? Like, hi, I'm Steve Jobs, who fixed your iPad. Really? Didn't you make the iPad too? Like, wouldn't that be a better way to go in front of the investors? To say, yeah, you know why I fixed the iPad? I'm sorry. Yeah, you really did. I actually made the whole place. Yeah, I know. I really, and this on the whole thing gets me. Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure. I can't wait to get to know you better. We don't do that. Twice a day. We have a chiyuv to what? Remember? That's right. What are you joking me? He created the sun. This is what we're doing? We say Shema, and the whole thing's about taking us out of Mitzrayim? It should be the whole thing should be about the sun and the moon and the stars and the body. We say Shema, and be like, by the way, everything that I make, we should be every second of our Judaism should be create the world, create the world. Who cares about Egypt? That was so long ago. Why do we care about Egypt for? Because God works in another way. And this way is a lot harder. It's called hashgacha, or providence. Now, for everything that makes sense in creation, it is the opposite of providence. We look at the way God runs the world and we have no idea what He is thinking. God comes into the world and says, the reason why I'm crazy about Mitzrayim is because Mitzrayim is the point where I am showing you that I didn't just create the place, I'm here. I am the place. I am with you. I am down. You think you got stuck into slavery? You think you just came out of yourself? You think it was a North Star? It's me. I am in this world. I run this world. When we look out into the world, of course you know God created the world. We can figure it out ourselves. Who else would have it all work so perfectly? But when we look out into the world that we live in, we're going, is anybody home? Like, who's running this place? Like, for real? Like, this is what happened? Do you know this man? Do you know this person? Like, are you kidding me? And for everything that makes sense in the world of creation, nothing makes sense in the world of running the world. Providence, we're like, I don't even think you, are you sleeping today? You take 40 years off in Europe? Like, what just happened over here? How did this happen? When it comes to running the world, we look at the world, you know what we see? In Aramaic, it's called leis din, leis dain. There's no ruler, there's no rules. And we feel it, and it unnerves us. So you know what we do? We put our own little world in. We try as hard as we can to fit some sense of order into a world that has no order. You ever see that some God that passes away, what's the first thing you ask? Was he sick? Who cares? We do. Why? Because if somebody should just drop dead in our world of order, there should be some at least heads up. Was he old? Does it matter how old a person is if they die? Well, in our world of justice, there has to be some way that we know that when you're older, was he a good guy? And we do this to ourselves. We like pain ourselves by telling us how great he was. Was he a good? Oh, the truth is he was abusive to his family and he was on drugs. Oh, the truth is he was a big tzaddik. Oh, really? We're holding in Din B'Cheshbon, we're holding in Gilgulim, we know? No. This has nothing to do with him. This has nothing to do with your family. You know what this has to do with? Us. When we hear pain, our first question is, how does this apply to my life? Oh my God, this happened? Where is their rules? Where is their justice? Where can I be safe? Where can I be in control? How can I protect my family? How can I protect myself? We're trying so hard. Oh, he's a bad guy. Makes sense. God would kill a bad guy. He's a good guy? How can he kill a good guy? I'm a good guy. We go crazy because what we need so badly is control. We need din. We love din. Please tell me the rules of how God runs this world. Please tell me how health happens. Please tell me how money happens. Give me the rule. Whatever the rule is, I'm going to do. Whatever the rule you say, I'm going to do. Just give me a din. I need a din. I need din. Give me din. We love din. And so once a year, God shows up and goes, here's the deal. I'm doing judgment. I'm like, oh, judgment. Okay, I like judgment. I got it. What are we going to do? Say some words, throw some bread into a sea, eat honey, whatever you need. Fast, say I'm sorry a million times. Like, I got it, whatever you need. I'll jump through hula hoops, I'll wear red bendels, I'll say things in Torahs. What do you need? Whatever you need me to do, I'm in. I don't know what I'm saying. It's okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it. Because I hear that during this period of time, you show up, and my whole year's decided. There's a din. Okay, what do I do? Follow along, say these words. I'll say every word you want me to say. I'll say it. You got it. I don't want to fast. I don't want to even be here. Best night of the year, most of Yom Kippur. You know what? I don't even want to be at Yom Kippur. Why am I even doing Yom Kippur for? Because I was told when I was little that if you don't do Yom Kippur, don't step up this period of time. You want to go on vacation? Not this week. I don't think so. Go in the summer where no one's looking at you. You can do whatever you want. You come this week, don't mess with God during this week. Step up. You step up. On Friday night comes, I don't care what you're thinking. You step up. And then you get up in the Elon after fasting and then saying I'm sorry, and fasting and saying I'm sorry. They get up and go, it's almost over. It's almost closed. Don't forget to say, I'm sorry. How Jewish guilt is this, by the way? This is like, I think this is designed by Jewish mothers, by the way. There's a whole other story. And we just hook, line, and sinker. And year after year. In our hearts, I don't be doing this, but I'll do whatever you need, God. You know why? Because I love din.
If you're telling me your world works this way, I'm in. I'm not saying, I'm not messing with you. Give me whatever I got to do. I'll do it. I got to protect my family this way. I'm in. This is what I can do to make money. It's a little bit hard now in the economy. Whatever. Whatever you need. This is the time of judgment. I'll put my head down and you do whatever you need to make. I'll torture myself for 25 hours if that's what makes you happy. You know why? Because I love din. Because now I have some control over my year. And you hear these stories. People say these things like, they must have not had a good Rosh Hashanah because something bad happened to them. As if we have it down perfectly. We know how God works. Oh, maybe they were they were tired and dominating. Oh, that's what happened. When they got sick in February, you know when it was? They got sick in the Elo. As if. God's like, oh, were you sleeping? Good luck driving in February. I really don't think so. That's how it works. We have it down. We know how we know how God works. In. And we show them Rosh Hashanah. Here's how it works. Nothing that comes out of God is bad. The Chazal teaches us that every time you do a mitzvah, you create a malach. Every time you do a sin, you create a malach. What does that mean, you create a malach? What it means is that the spiritual world that governs your life is created by you. God doesn't create a son. What God does is he creates a kli called a satan, and we give that satan power. All God does is set up a system. The extent of the power or the lack of power of the spiritual world to us is based on us. We do good, we create good spirituality. We do bad, we create bad spirituality. The world has taken this and destroyed it from us. It's called, and in the outside world, this concept, which is not even the concept, but the closest thing we have to this in secular vernacular is called karma. It's totally not Yiddishkeit, but that's as close as we can get to talking about it. Which means when you do something, the spiritual world reacts. Which we know, which is why we hear before it's like, go with the Mishra Sadin and things like that. Watch what happens. Watch. Yom Hadin comes. And the Satan shows up. Now all year God's playing with the Satan. Satan's the guy who's judging us, and God's our dad. And he's trying to balance him. Don't do this, it's Pesach. And he's balancing him and balancing him. One day, Satan goes, what do you mean? It's Yom Hadin, it's my day. You can't mess with me on my day. God goes, okay, I can't mess with you on your day. Once a year the Satan shows up. And he comes to the court. And he looks down at his people. And you know what we're doing? You know what we care about? Din. All we're thinking is din. I'm only in shul because of din. I even walk into shul with someone who looks more religious than me. I'm like, yeah, you're a little fanatic. Can you calm down a little bit? Look at someone who's less religious than me. I'm like, can you step up? It's Rosh Hashanah, for God's sakes. Din. I'm judging everybody. I've got grudges I'm holding on to. 2 years ago, someone did something wrong to me. I'm still upset with them. Din. The Satan looks down. Where's he getting his power to judge us? From us. We're powering the Satan who's judging us. He can't get power on his own. The power that he has to judge is being generated by us. He looks down at the little energy-o-meter and he's like, I am overflowing. Look at these people. They're only sitting in front of God because they want stuff. This is amazing. I have so much that I can hire little associates. He's got something associates running around. He's got a whole legal firm based on our need for din. He shows up at Rosh Hashanah. He's loving it. He comes in. He sits before God. He's like, okay, let's rock and roll. And we're looking and we're still holding on. Why did this happen? We're questioning God. Why did this happen? Doesn't God know this? Doesn't God know how to run a world? What? And what about this? And he's looking at us going, really? You know how to run a world? Din. Really not a world? Oh, din. You're judging the person next to you because she's too religious? Din. You think you're so religious? You're judging the person she's not religious enough? Really? Okay. Din. Rosh Hashanah opens up and we're getting slaughtered. It's 50-0. We're not even out of bed yet. He's up at Vasidia. We roll in around 10 o'clock. And we're like, oh. Okay, I hope the happening's not too long. He's like, you said that? Yes, din. His associates are bringing him his coat, he's got his robe on. They brought him a cigar, he's got brandy in his hand with a little cup. He's got his feet up at the table. God, din. He's throwing up the thing, din. We don't even know what's going on. We're like, well, maybe if I should down for 3 minutes and say some words, then God's going to love me. He's like, God's going to love me. Boom, boom. We're getting killed. On Yom Hadin. We don't even know what's happening, and we're generating the whole thing. It's all coming from us. We're giving this guy all this power. And as he's about to walk away with the championship, as we're about to have the worst judgment in history, thinking about what I'm eating, all of a sudden something happens. the doors of the courtroom open up. And as dramatic as you can imagine, all the little associates scurry around the cover. And Sutton goes, "What's going on over here? Who's that?" He goes, "Oh, no." And somebody walks in, shining face, tall, toss over his head. And he goes, "Oh, I thought I had security at the door." And the Sutton turns around dramatically, like he drops the glass, like it shatters. And he goes, "No! Who let Avraham in?" And Avraham walks into the court and takes out this horn called the shofar. And the Sutton's like, "Not the shofar, no!" And down on earth, a guy gets up with a tallis over his head. And someone whispers, "Tikiya." And up in Shemayim, at the exact same moment, Abraham puts the thing to his mouth and he goes, "No, please, please, please. What is going on here?" This is the moment, right? This is when the Sutton gets messed up. So let's talk a little bit about the shofar. Crazy thing, right? Shofar is the best PR campaign in the history of Jewish symbols. You ever notice this? We blow the shofar. Why? Because it reminds God of Akedah Yitzchak. When did the shofar show up in Akedah Yitzchak? After the drama, right? Remember the story? God, kid, ties him up, about to kill him. And he's like, "No, no, 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 no." He's like, "No, step away from the kid, step away from the kid." Then, when it's done, right, the music ends, the credits come up, right, director, God, you know what I'm saying? Like Abraham as Abraham, Yitzchak as Yitzchak, and it's over, and I was like, "Oh, that was a great movie. Oh my God, the kid almost died. He survived." When it's all over, Abraham's looking around and goes, "Oh, yeah, the rim." He brings it up, and he kills the rim. The shofar, there's no drama with the shofar. You want drama? You want me to remember that God, that we almost, one of our forefathers almost killed somebody? You know what we should do in shul? We should take a kid, we should tie him up to the bima, and then Abraham should be like, and we're like, "No, no, 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 no." We're like, "You see, that's what Abraham did." He should take out the machete and hold it up in shul and be like, "Oh my God." God would be like, "Yeah, the machete, he almost killed this kid." The shofar, I don't know who the PR agent is of this shofar. This shofar gets so much props. Who is the one symbol that we have, Matan Torah? The shofar. What is the symbol that we have for Geula? The shofar. What is the symbol that God says, Yom Hadin, the Sutton's killing you because of you. You want me to help you? Just blow the thing, you're cool. Why? The shofar's not even in the story. What's going on? So if you remember the story, we remember the story a little bit different. We think the whole beauty of Akedah Yitzchak was that he tried to kill his kid. Do you know why? Because we live in 2013. And in 2013, nobody kills their kids. At least nobody normal kills their kids. We're forgetting something. That Avram didn't live in 2013. Avram lived during a time where the prevalent practice is called the molech. The molech is an avodah zarah where you killed your kid. Everybody killed. It's crazy to us. Every guy on his street killed their kids. I'm not saying it was easy. But like when God's like, "You used me great for me," everyone's like, "What do you mean?" What do you mean? We all did this. This is what we did. Why did the test of Avram be Akedah Yitzchak? To watch the works. Watch how God works. This is awesome. The first 9 tests had one thing in common. You join the Marine Corps, you got to do stuff. Avram says, "I'm in." He says, "Go, leave, go to Egypt, go do this." That's what happens. The test at heart. But you know what? That's what happens when you're a Marine. But something happened along the way. God signed a contract with Abraham saying, "You're going to have a nation." This isn't just a random test. God promised, din, law, promised Abraham that when this kid comes, this kid is going to be the kid that's going to be the nation. This wasn't just a random idea God had. They sat down with lawyers and notary publics and signed a document. It became law. God's word is emes. When he says something, you could rely on it. That's the whole beauty of Hashem Elokei from emes. Hashem told Abraham, from now on, this kid is going to be the one. Now God says, "Oh yeah, remember the contract we signed? Nah, I'm bridging it." And God goes, "What do you mean? There's no din? If you breach a contract in America, I take you to court." What do you mean? God, this is, no, you promised me. Then, isn't there any order in the way you run the world? isn't there any din that I can rely on in your providence? The test of Avram wasn't that he killed his kid. The test of Avram was that he looked up and you know what he saw? A God that made no sense. What do you mean? Din. This is a deal that we had. How do you renege on a deal? And God looks at him and goes, hey, Abraham, you care about din? Abraham says, oh, I'm sorry, you don't know me. You know how much I think about din? You know what I think about? You. You know what I care about? You. You know what din is? Me. My law. Din is so that I am in control. Din is so that I feel good at night. Din is so that I am protected. We have laws to protect ourselves from ourselves. God goes, you think I need to be protected from you? You think I need to be worried about you? You think I am asking how you run this world? You think I worry about din? Do you know how much I love you? Do you know what you mean to me? Din? You want my kid? It makes no sense. And actually, according to Halacha, if you're a Navi and you have two conflicting prophecies, you can go with the first. I don't care about rules. I don't care about halachas. All I care about is you. The whole Aseres was Abraham's way of saying, I don't care about din. I don't care how you run the world. You know what I care about is whether or not I am serving you right. Whether or not I am giving you, it's chesed. And Abraham is the man of chesed, and there's only one thing that eclipses din, that is chesed. And Abraham and Akedah said, din, I'm questioning your din in my human brain. I care about you. What do you need? It makes no sense. Okay, you. And that's why, by the way, the shofar is the symbol, because you know what the knife is? The test. And God goes, I got it. And he goes, well, I want to give you something. He goes, I got it. He goes, I want to give you something. He goes, I got it. You don't have it. He goes, this isn't about a test. This isn't whether I pass. This isn't a din thing, Avram says. It's never a din thing for me. I don't need to pass your tests. I don't need to get a grade. I love you. I want to show you. God goes, I got it. He goes, it's not enough. It's not for you. I got to give you something. The shofar is our way of saying, din, for real? We're holding God's judgment. This is what we're here for. We're questioning God. We're waiting online because someone told us that if you don't, he's going to zap you. This is what we're up to right now in our people. I was like, for real? This is what you think this is? I'm trying to get stuff from you, so I wait online and do what you need? No. I'm Abraham. This is about you. I'm your servant. I'm your son, for God's sakes. You think I worry about your din? You know, someone told me an amazing thing. Anyone who's a grandmother in the room, you know that the kid says to you, Mommy, can you make sure you protect my kids? I'll tell you what, I told a story a few years ago. Myself, I'll never forget this story. It happened in the 5 town, I'm not going to say where. A friend of mine, whatever. He's got kids, everyone's wonderful, God bless America, everyone's great. Kid goes to Israel. I love everybody, I love everything. I'm saying this with all the humor that I can possibly say. I don't mean to judge anybody, everybody's wonderful, God bless everybody. And I was one of those kids, you go to, when you're in high school, you're a little bit, having a little bit too much fun. Then you go to Israel, and like within 3 months, like you're the firmest guy in the world. You know what I'm talking about? You're like, oh, I'm sorry, I am Avraham Avinu. I can sit down for 2 seconds and die. You know what I'm talking about? That whole deal. So you come back to America. You come back to America for the first year. Everyone that you know is not from you, right? Your parents who raised you are not from you because you're the funnest guy in the world. So wonderful kid, wonderful family. Everybody's wonderful. So he has a kid, son. Really tough kid growing up, goes to Israel, really connects to God. God bless him, says, I'm never coming back to, ready for this? Shmutz la'aretz. You've had this before? Especially after the 5 towns. You know what I'm saying? Like, aren't we like Gog Magog or something? Have you heard this before? No. We're Sodom and Gomorrah. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like the 5 towns. I'm not going to the capital of Shmutz la'aretz. For sure not. Nobody in the 5 towns cares about Torah. So, his parents live in 5 towns. And he's sitting in Ohel, he marries a wonderful girl, she's Israeli, very not into the American culture, very not into the 5 towns. But his parents, Baruch Hashem, have enough money to support them in their lifestyle. So every year he comes back for 2 weeks in August, and they spend 2 weeks with his parents. That's what happens in August. Thank you. Appreciate it. And he spends 2 weeks with them, they his mom. Says, Father, I saw him the next day. I promise, I'm telling you this guy, I don't promise you, I tell you this guy, he was broken. He's waiting up early in the morning, he's on the terrace, and out of his bedroom is a terrace that they built an extension to the house. He's waiting outside early, he's so excited for his son. And the car pulls up out of the cab from JFK, and the wife gets out with a little baby. And she gets out and she goes, looks at her son, he's listening, they don't know he's listening. She goes, man, I hate being here. And the son looks and goes, me too, but you gotta suck it up. Remember, they pay for our living. And the father looks at me and goes, what? He's worried about my grandkids? He has to come to me and ask for, I'm his father. You don't think you think he loves himself more than I love him? Really? You think he loves his kids more than I love his kids? This is what this is about now? He needs to show up so that I give him something. You think I'm going to let my kids starve? You think I'll let my kids go without shoes? You think I'm going to make sure that the medical bills of my grandkids in Israel are... Are you choking me? I love him more than he loves his kids. What do I want from this kid? You gotta even just kiss up to me? Just come to the house. You gotta kiss up to me? How about you take a walk with your mother? Just sit with your mother and let your mother drop a nachas. How about that? You gotta ask me for stuff? As if I don't want to give you, really? We show up to the Kodesh Baruch Hu and we're like, please take care of my family, please take care of my family. God's like, for real? You don't want to be here now? We got 1 week together. You don't want to be here? You're ready to get out because of a couple of some food, there's a bagel that's keeping us between each other? I have 1 day with you, I have 1 week with you, where a whole life you're running around. I have 10 days with you. That's all I got. You don't want to be here because you're scared I'm going to give you some food, some money? Really? You think you love your kids more than I love your kids? You think you love your kids more than me, God says? Who gave you those kids? You think you love your family more than I do? I'm your father. Are you really protecting people from me? Avram says, no. There's no din. I'm not asking you for stuff. You're my dad. I gotta ask you for stuff? It's you. What do you need from me? I'll take a walk with you in the morning. I want to talk to mommy. I'll talk to mommy. What do you need? I am not worried about me. You know why? Because you care about me. I don't have to worry about me if you care about me. You know what? I worry about you. The whole goal of Rosh Hashanah is to be Avraham. No din. I'm not worried about din. I don't care about din. I have complete faith and confidence that my life is going to be about you. And if I can get there with that blow of a shofar, the whole shofar is one thing. No din. No questions. I don't know how the world works, but guess what? I am not God. You know what I know? That I am here and you're my father. That's Abraham. And when Abraham steps in front of the Satan with chesed, the Satan goes, well, what are you doing? He goes, I'm all chesed. The Satan goes, but if you're chesed, I don't need more power. I need din to be powerful. And he goes, I know. That's why I'm here. And by the way, all those people that you're judging right now, they're my kids. So all the energy of din, gone. And the Satan is confused. He got more power. He's used our din to judge us. We've got a block called Avram saying, those are my children. I don't have that din, so you know what? You have no more energy in din. So, bye-bye. And the Satan's got no power in Rosh Hashanah. So because Avram eclipsed all that power, so the Satan gets confused. Now God goes, any objections to giving my kids a good year? Anybody? Anybody? Huh. Okay then. Let me get off my kisei of din. And the Medrash, let me sit down on the kisei of rachamim. Which is why Nehemiah says, you want to know how to keep your Rosh Hashanah? Go and enjoy yourself. Chedvas Hashem hu moetzcha. You turn to the Kodesh Baruch Hu and say, I trust you. God goes, for real? You think I want to talk? That's it. You're done. You're done. You hear the shofar, it gets in your heart, you buy it, versus you're just going through the motions because you're going through the motions because you're din. If you can get the chesed on Rosh Hashanah, if you can stand before God and go, you know what? I don't know how this world works. Let me tell you what I'm going to do this year. You. God goes, for real? That's all. It's court adjourned. Go home and eat. Enjoy yourself. Chedvas Hashem. He knows him. I got you covered. I'm your dad, remember? There's no more power out there. This period of time has one mantra. You know what the mantra is? Ritzoneni la'asos ritzonecha. You want to know if my rotzon is God? You want to know what I want out of life? I'm not worried about my kids. I'm not worried about my life. I'm not worried about my health. I'm not worried about my money. You know what I'm worried about? You. What about your kids? You know who's included in his kids? My kids. You know how many kids of yours don't even know who you are? How many kids of yours sitting on street corners thinking that you hate them? You know how many people in the world don't know you? You know what's going on today? You know what I'm thinking about Rosh Hashanah? It's going to be the kids. You know how many people in this world have the ability to have a life that's amazing, a marriage that's amazing? You know how much potential is out there, and we just suck it away from ourselves because we take God out of our lives? And we're trying to go, how do I help to bring it back? What do we have to do? I don't care. I don't care about me. Let's, for a minute, talk about you. You know why? Hamelach. Because you're the king. The goal of Rosh Hashanah is to start off ka'avadim. That's what we say. Im ka'avadim or im ka'banim. Avadim puts their head down and follows orders. If you don't follow orders, then you're out for sure. Just being in the game means, I'll say some words, I'll say some words, I'll say some words. That's basic. The goal of Rosh Hashanah is to go from being an Eved to being a Ben. The Ben doesn't follow orders. You know what the Ben does? He cares about daddy. The Ben worries about his father's covet. Someone brings on your father. You see these people that lose his parents. You have people that lose parents the rest of their life. Everything is about their parents. They build buildings, they start shiurim, their whole life is their parents. Don't mess with my parents. When you turn to God on Rosh Hashanah and you treat him like a dad, the goal of Rosh Hashanah is to take the life of Malkeinu. You know, in front of it, we add something called Avinu. We go, wow, look how impressive this guy is. This is impressive, right? That's my dad. Dad, if a little kids do it, the best feeling of what dad can ever have is when a little kid goes, that's my dad. You look around Rosh Hashanah, you go, see that big king that's scaring people? You know, the little sun over the stars, you know that? That's my dad. The goal of Rosh Hashanah is Avinu. I'm yours. And we are right now in Rosh Hashanah. We haven't been done with this yet, because if we were, we wouldn't be saying Kosveinu. The reason why we have Aseres Teshuva is because it's easy to do that in shul on Rosh Hashanah with the shofar blowing. You get back to your life, you get back to normal. Our week this week is asking ourselves preparation, like my wife and I were talking to my son, and his desire to study for a test in like 10 minutes or less. He goes, I got it covered, Mommy, I got it in 10 seconds. And we're like, well, you know, it's a final, maybe you should study for more than 10 minutes. We walk into Yom Kippur, we don't just roll into Yom Kippur. We have a week because God goes, you want to know what to do this week? Say the right words, pray, I love all that stuff. Let me tell you what you gotta do. Look at your life and ask in every area of your life, where are you the center of the world and where am I the center of the world? Where are you holding by din? And where are you holding by chesed? How many times on your day did you say, how are you doing today? How can I help you? She said this, what do you want? He did what? What do you want? I don't want, wait, what do you want? Wake up in the morning, what am I doing today? I gotta do this, I do that, I got this, I got that, He goes, hey, wait a second. Hold on. What do you want me to do today? What should I do today? What should I do today? I'll do all my task lists. I got kids, I can't just leave my life. This week is Teshuva. Teshuva is being a son and a daughter. But it goes one step further. And if we do this right, what we end up in is Yom Kippur. And Yom Kippur is the next level. Because as your relationships go, the lowest relationship you can have with somebody is called employer-employee relationship. It's professional. King and servant, it's professional. You pay me on time, I'm in. I'm all for you, all for you, all for you, king. There's no food in the kingdom, I'm throwing you out. The next level up, which is our goal for Rosh Hashanah, is father-son, daughter, father-daughter. It's not about money, it's not about professionalism, it's about you, Dad. But there's one more level above that. And what is that? Spouse. The spousal relationship is a very interesting relationship in Torah. It's crazy. It's like one wants such a hard time, right? You give birth to the kid, you kill for the kid, all of a sudden somebody shows up and like he's gone. It makes no sense. Because the only relationship that we see in Torah that is nafsho, kshura v'nafsho, it's not just that we're close. It's that we are one. The only relationship that we have in Torah where it says ish and isha, because in between those two words is the word yud kei, and that means Hashem. The only place in Torah that it says that the Shechina is shar b'neihem, God is within them, is the spousal relationship. Why? Because it is the only relationship we have in Torah that is voluntary. You can choose to create it, you can choose to dissolve it. If you're in, you're in. And so when you're choosing something, then then it's all your choice, and so you put something in there that you can never put in any other relationship, and so it is the most unique relationship out there. And it is so unique that God says that the goal of a parent is to raise a child. The goal of a child is to respect the parent. This is all in Torah. The goal of a couple is not to respect each other, or the Rambam speaks about it. The goal of the couple is to be one. It's unity. Al ken yazov isha aviv v'imo v'yidbach v'ishto v'yu lebasar echad. The goal of the relationship of a spouse is to not give, take care of, bewail. All that's good stuff. The ultimate goal of a spouse is we are one. Our foot hurts. We are one. Spiritually, we are one person. And now we get to Yom Kippur. What is the difference between chasiva and chasima? Chasiva is writing. But writing isn't permanent. Because if it was, you wouldn't understand. A seal, the writing doesn't change a document. It adds to the document. A seal changes it. It imprints it. It's like clay, or sometimes you have those seals that actually cuts the document. It changes the document forever. When we come to Yom Kippur, and Yom Kippur is not daddy anymore. You know what Yom Kippur is? Lefnai v'lefnim. B'chadrei chadarim. The kruvim that are the essence of love look at each other. The essence of Yom Kippur is to go from you're my dad to you're my spouse. We're not two separate beings. It's not me taking care of you and then you taking care of me. It's not me asking every day, what can I do for you? I don't understand you, but I'm going to accept you. It's not me giving to you and then you giving to me, because me giving to you and you giving to me still requires you to be two separate people. The giver and the receiver. Yom Kippur, we stop doing that. Yom Kippur, there's no giving and taking. Yom Kippur, there's no avinu. Yom Kippur is that we are one. We are connected. We are now not anymore me going for you. Right now, I am not separate from you. We are married right now. The goal of Yom Kippur is not to get stuff, it's to be stuff. The goal of Yom Kippur is to stare down at God and go, wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. You're not just my father. You're me. You're a piece of me. We are one. We are one soul. I am in you. You are in me. I don't have to worry about you giving to me. We're the one the same. I come. I am a piece. I am a telling Kim. My essence is within your essence. So what do we do? So watch. This is awesome. What do? God says, here's the story. What makes you think you're separate? We're never separate from God. We think that like God's like the chicken with the egg. It's not true. The way it works. It almost picture like a wave. Sometimes you ever go to an ocean, you see that the wave comes up. So if you're looking at it from a very myopic perspective, you think that the wave is separate from the ocean. It's not. The wave is the ocean. We're like a little wave. We're an extension, but our entire essence is God. The body we have is a body that's going to change. The career, the titles, the kids, the family, what money, the houses, that's all things we have. Who we are at our core is God. We think, I don't get lost in this stuff. I'm this religious, I'm not this, I'm into it, I'm not into it. That is all nonsense. In truth, who we are is God. But we don't know it, because all year we got to worry about ourselves. We got to make sure He gives us stuff. And we got to take the physical things that we have and give to Him. And then one day a year, we stand before God. And God goes, you've been working hard on it, right? And we go, oh man, I worked on this. You're my dad. I really mean you're my dad. He goes, okay, you sure? Yeah. You sure? You're like, yeah, you are my dad. He goes, now watch. The reason why you think we're separate is because I took that little piece called soul that's really just me. We're not separate, we're the same. And I stuck you in this place called the world. And this is an illusion, like we're separate. There's blocks. You know what some of those blocks are? Desires. We have so much desires. Desire is the industry that America is based on. We've got kids jumping off the deep end of Judaism because of their desires. You've got families breaking up over desires. Our lives are being run by desires. And God says one day a year, Pashmish is the ultimate primal desire. Off the table. No desire. And then after desires, you know what we care so much about is comfort. Oh, we want to be comfortable. It's what's going to be. Right now, most of the people, when we talk about parnasa, or we're talking about levels of comfort. When we talk about parnasa today, we all should have good sense of parnasa, a lot of parnasa. Our grandparents, they'd be like, what? What? When we said parnasa, we meant like bread in the cabinet. By Shabbos, if we're not like ready to throw up, we're like, really? When there's like only 2 desserts on the table, we're like, what is going on here? Are we in a recession? There's no chocolate on Shabbos? I don't understand something. Parnasa. Comfort? And as soon as we get something more than once, we own it. That's the rule. You never fly first class more than twice unless you can afford it for the rest of your life. You know why? You fly twice, you're like, then after a while you get on the plane, you're like, I can't sit back there with those people. I have to wait online and get my coffee after we take off with this food service. We're living this. We're like worried about like houses and things and foods and clothing. The stuff that we worry about and spend most of our time on are complete just comfort. We're gonna live, it's just how much we could have. And we're like so worried about how much we have. I was like, wait a second, 2 generations ago? Like right now, if you go to a bar mitzvah and there's no sushi, we're like, really? No sushi at a bar mitzvah? Like what? You call this a simcha? We walk into the store, like, you ever go to a rest stop and you pick up a candy off the shelf and you're upset that there's no, you ever do this deal? You're like, what? There's something on the New Jersey Turnpike I can't eat right now? What do you mean? Everything should be kosher. 2 generations ago, like they made their own chickens. Now it's like Gorman doesn't have enough chickens. You're like, is there any God in the world? I don't understand something. It's Yom Tov. Where's the sushi guy? Where's the chicken guy? There should be somebody cutting my chickens, and I should have 4 choices within 5 blocks, or else I'm like, really? And you call yourself a God? Lays din, lays dying. This isn't like 5,000 years ago. They used to cut their own chickens. We love comfort. In fact, most of our life is about comfort. You know what God says? You know what the primal comfort is? Your shoes. The only article of clothing you have on, it's only there mostly because of comfort. You can be okay without it. And there are people, if you go to tribes in Africa, they don't have shoes on. And when you put on shoes, what's the first question I ask you? Is it comfortable? God goes, you know what? I know you still want to be comfortable. God bless you. And I hope you're comfortable. I'm your mom, I'm your dad. 1 day a week, you Nick with the comfort. Take it off. Get on the floor. Yeah, feel it. Feel the floor on your feet. Look, you're alive. Wow, who would have thought? You know what else we care about so much? How we look. Oh my God. How's it going to look? Oh my God, it's going to look. I got to look good. I got to look good. I can't leave. I got to look. How's it look? What's going to happen? How's it going to look? This happened to us. How's it going to look? My kids need services. I can't put them there. It's not going to look good. How's it going to look? What's it going to look like? Oh my, you know how it looks? There are people making decisions on yeshivas based on how it looks to the rest of the family. And there's like a boogeyman of shidduchim out there. I don't know where this started from. I would say this, but I don't know, shidduchim. I'm like, where's the boogeyman of shidduchim? I can't do anything in the world to upset anyone ever, take any stance on anything, because there's a boogeyman called shidduchim. How's it look? 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 You know how much I care about how it looks? And God goes, you know what? Don't put any cosmetics on one day. You know why? I don't care how you look. I like the way you look. You're beautiful the way you are. It's God, not me. But I only speak for her. My wife's in the room, by the way. That was a setup. I think I passed. And we move out all the way it looks. And you know what else is left when all that's out? You know what we say? Oh, I really don't care about how I look. You know what I really care about? Health, 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 health. Gets in health, 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 health. Should be healthy. Everything should be healthy. You know what God says? It's true, you should be healthy. But it's still your body. How do we get rid of the body entirely? Survival. Eating and drinking. Let's move that off the table. 1 day a year. Does it get better than this? I mean, come on. I know it's hard, but greatness is hard. Does it get better than this? 1 day a year we stand before God. And you know what we realize? I'm not separate from you anymore. My whole life, I'm worried about all these things. You know what? That's not me. I want these things, and they're close to me. But the me that's left when all this stuff goes away, all that's left, that's just my soul. That's all I got left. And you know what? That's you. We're one. All I got left is that the 2 of us were married. We're one. We're nafsho, kashur, and nafsho. There's no more I want, Daddy, please give me. There's just me and you, we're the same. The right arm doesn't hurt the left arm, the brain doesn't hurt the foot, it's just one body. I look at God in the eye and Yom Kippur and go, there's nothing left. There's nothing left.
All this has just been a separation, and I got to get back into it tomorrow, but for one moment a year, for one moment in time, I get to be me again. The real me. The one who's married to you. I'm not just subservient. We were in love once. We were one person at one point. I came from you. We moved from writing stuff, and now it's chesima. All the ritzoneinu, ritzonecha, all that work changes. And now it becomes a part of us. The book of life isn't a book that he writes us in, we get more money or health. It's just a choice to how to live forever. We choose, we have a moment where we go, that's me. That's really me. Where did I go? I was lost all year. My whole life was all those 5 things I forgot. This is me. No. This is me. And on Yom Kippur, greatest day of the year. Hard? Great. We look over at our husband and our wife and go, oh my God, we're not separate at all. We're one. You know what God does for us in Yom Kippur? You know why Yom Kippur is so amazing? Because he goes, well, in that case, if we're one, he does it either way. And there's no judgment at all. Because judgment means I have to judge. So he takes the court of judgment and he shuts it down. There's only one court open on Yom Kippur. Rachamim. All day. All access pass. Stores open 24 hours. God says, we're one, right? Mercy. Whatever you say, except when the little kids' Father's Day, I love the Father's Day, you get like a little scribble scout from the kids, like, Happy Father's Day, Daddy, it's you. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. I didn't realize I look like that. You know how awesome it is for a father? You're like, I love it. You know why? Because I don't care if it's good or not, it's for my son. We say, I'm sorry, and Dean's like, come on, that's not really a sorry. Come on, God goes, easy. Not today. Rachamim. Forgive him. I don't know why I got lost all year. I got lost. Dad, this isn't me. And God goes, forgive him. You know, the truth is, I thought I'm questioning. I just want you. And God goes, what? You got me. One day. Rachamim. One. The judgment on Rosh Hashanah is Ritzonei Lasos Ritzonecha. The judgment of Yom Kippur is Ein Od Milvado. Just you. My wife is you. My husband is you. My kids are not, they're you. I can see it now. My community is you. I'm judging people. I'm worried about things. My future, that's you. The world is you. What's going on in the world right now, it's you. The economy is you. The good is you. I don't understand why this is not good because it looks bad. It's you. All I see, I can see clearly now. All I see in the world, now that every filter is pulled off, is that it's all you. It's always been you. I don't know how I got lost. I don't know how I actually walked into this very time and thought for a second that like I had to ask you and beg you, you're going to hurt me? You are me. I have a piece of you. My whole life, it's only you. I see it now. The goal of Yom Kippur is that we walk away. He's not changed. He doesn't change. We're changed. The brachas that we get from Hashem is not when we ask for it. It's when we're changed. He wants to give it. The flow from him is going. He doesn't want to not give. We change, and we change the kli that can accept the already bringing down Shefa. It's coming. We're blocking it. We put the roof between us and the sun. We pull that roof off. We get all the sunlight we want. The bracha of Yom Kippur is we come out, and we're different people. All the judgment. We look up and go, I'm connected to you. And when you connect yourself to the source, is there any light you don't get? My bracha to us is that we do not walk into Yom Kippur like servants. We do not treat our Father like a stranger. He's our Father. He's our spouse. We walk in, and the feelings that we have is Avram Avinu. The judgment is Ritzonei Lasos Ritzonecha. I'm going to know din. Really, am I that smart? I'm going to get this now? I'm going to waste a second of my life on din?
You know what? There's 30 people in my life that did wrong to me. Forget it. I'm going to tell why this happened before. I'm going to hold a grudge to the human being for real. I'm going to live my life this way. Families broken apart. People can't sit seders together because it's ridiculous. Hard? Greatness is hard. I'm going to walk it now, my 3 days that I have left. And for the next 3 days, when I say Kosveinu, I'm not going to ask you to write me. I'm going to write myself. Ritzoneni la'asos ritzonecha. I'm yours, Dad. I'm yours. It's the chauffeur. I don't care about the test. I am so past the test. I care about you. You're my dad. And on Shabbos, Friday night, best night of the year, we stand before God. We have 25 hours. That's it. And then it closes on us. 25 hours. Where we stand before God, and there's no more filters. And it's just me and you. And we get to be who we really are, the true us. We got lost over these years, but now there's that me inside. I know it's burning up. I feel it sometimes. It hits me every once in a while. And once I get that, and I'll end with this. Shlomo Kabbalah, I was on Nachum Siegel this morning. Nachum Siegel told me a great thing. I'll end with this one idea. You know, we say the Elah at the end, the gates close, which makes no sense, right? We're trying, the gates close. Shlomo Kabbalah says, you know what happens when the gates close? God brings you on the inside when he closes it. They close the door. You ever get that feeling at night when you lock up and you count your kids? There's something about everyone's in the house. Right now we're at the doorstep. God wants us in, but we don't want to go in. You know, kid, if you do it right, we walk in. You know when they close the gates? God closes it from behind us, which is what the sukkah is, which is a different shir. My bracha to us is that this Me'ilah, when we're done, when we come home from shul, and we look up, and we look at our Father who created the world, we feel that we're inside the gate. We feel that He's not only our dad, but He is my spouse. We feel that warmth. We feel that connection, that love, not the fear. And we walk for the rest of our lives sealed with God's stamp. We walk and we live in the book of life. May we be zocheh this year to be in the true Sefer HaChaim, Gemar, Chasimatov, and a good Gemesh.